All right, welcome back to Take a Shot. I think this is episode 7. We are doing our week 1 NFL picks for 2023. Let's do it. Hey,
Sorry, I got a little excited.
here's to football, guys.
Football is back.
Finally.
I am an addict. I've been watching the most obscure games, like on college football.
Oh, well, I finally did watch the highlights of TCU versus Colorado. Man, Colorado was, like I said, they beat the team that was in the national championship last year, the runner-up. Like, how can you fault them for that? Like,
Prime time, baby.
said we come.
Dogs.
Yeah. That is cool that on their uniforms
jersey?
it's like
Yeah.
L for leader, D for dog. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dion was like, he's a certified dog.
Well, I'd keep telling you real quick, like Joel Klatt, the FS1 analyst, he constantly has been talking about, and he's a Colorado alum, so you say he's a little biased, but he's been saying that Colorado is going to be legit this year, and everyone's like, no, they're going to need more time. And everyone's like, they have no chance against TCU. He's like, watch out. Just saying, watch out.
All the criticism, the most transfers, new players.
50-something transfers.
I think they were the lowest percent, if not in the bottom 3, like at 11, 12, 18% of having return starters come back from last year. And then also, too, Deion Sanders' son, the last time a quarterback threw for 500 yards was 2014. The last time TCU allowed a quarterback to throw for over 500 yards, 2014.
Yeah.
So it's just all first game. It just literally was a perfect script.
I think the craziest stat from that game was they had 3 receivers go for over 100 yards. Last year they had 1 receiver go over 100 yards the whole season, and they had 3 in one game.
And like he said, there's a completely different team, completely different roster. He didn't, wasn't afraid to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, hey, straight up, you guys aren't good enough. You're not going to be on the team.
You remember that meeting he had? He was like, hey, most of you guys aren't going to make this team, so you want to transfer? You better get out of here now.
Well, like, I don't mean to cut it to like a military thing, but like I do feel like that is something you could feel like your basic training instructor could come to you and just be like, straight up, like, if you're not good enough to like do this, you're just not going to make it. We're not going to sugarcoat you in there.
I think it's just a true testament to the players. They respect and they believe in what Deion's trying to do for the organization, the players. I mean, I feel like he's one of those coaches that he actually gives a shit about his kids, this and that. It's not necessarily money or publicity for him and the school, this and that. So it was really nice to see, and especially all the criticism that he got. Everybody hating on him, and so
And they play Nebraska next week. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Matt Rule's that good of a coach. So
I don't even know what.
Go Buffaloes.
I don't even know.
I don't like Nebraska.
I'm just glad football's back, right?
Yep.
So why don't we dive into this? NFL's back in just a few days, right?
Let's do it.
So let's. I think today we're going to go over our week 1 picks and go through there. So let's start with our hometown Chiefs. They start at home.
Thursday night.
Banner night, baby.
The day of
Banner night.
The day of my court case.
Nope,
It's in the morning. I'll feel a lot better like in the afternoon once I'm out of there,
So I think I know where we're all going with this, but Chiefs and Lions, what are your guys' thoughts there?
So taking the Chiefs, and as far as like what do I think the spread's going to be, I do think the Lions are going to be one of the tougher teams we play this year. But I still think probably final score, if I have to say, like maybe like 35-27. I think we win by like a touchdown, like 8 points, something like that.
I can see something similar to that, 35-30, so on and so forth. I do like, where Detroit ended off last year. They have a lot of motivation coming in for, Dan Campbell, this and that. The only thing is obviously, the big key factor is Chris Jones. If Chris Jones ain't out there, then I think it's a lot closer than what we think.
Yeah.
But if Chris Jones actually was starting week 1, I'd be all like, I'd feel pretty secure on a double-digit victory.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it as a shootout. I think it'll be a shootout of some variety, and then eventually there's just more ammunition on one side than the other.
We just have one more better drive than they do, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think the score will, like, my opinion is the score is going to look a little more favorable for Kansas City than it will be if you actually watch the game. Like, if you watch the game, it's going to look pretty close. But I think Kansas City probably comes out ahead, maybe like 42-31 or something like that. And everybody that watches this, like, oh, Chiefs won double digits. But for those of us that really watch the game, we're gonna be like, we sweated that one out.
There's a lot of factors, obviously. First round draft pick from last year. He suspended. Jameis
Jameson Williams, yeah.
I mean,
Detroit
Amon
is, like, who outside of Amon St. Brown, like who the hell are they throwing the ball to?
That's Sam
That's it.
Laporta kid, if he's any good, but I don't know how much time they're going to give him right away. We'll see. Jameer Gibbs, that's the thing. This kid's either, well, that's the thing. He can have an average rookie year, but if he is that guy that you're like, wow, this guy is one of those great running backs that comes around every couple of
As
years.
the kids say, he might be him.
Yeah, and what's the thing? Like Kareem Hunt
Good vibes.
Kareem Hunt a couple
around
years ago, week one, like literally just burst on the scene. It was his best game of his whole career. I think.
Banner night, same thing.
Right. So I'm like, that's always a possibility that it's just that wild card of like, we may not be prepared for like, what if Jameer Gibbs is that dude that just takes over and is one of the top 5 backs immediately?
I still take the Chiefs.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got Andy Reid. You got the best probably head coach and quarterback duo right now. So
Good news for the Chiefs. I did read today. Kadarius Toney and L'Jarius Sneed, who have been nursing injuries, are good to go. They
That's
will
good.
play week 1.
I still even think I know we
That was from Andy Reid.
Right.
That's my source.
But even I think even without those two, and I think it's still close and everything, I feel like Kansas City's always a second half team. But yeah, I think in the first half, like you said, Caleb, like we might be kind of like, oh man, because they always do that to us. Just like that Browns game we just saw, like in the preseason. It's just it's a roller coaster with the Chiefs.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Chiefs are losing at half. It would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, like I said, one of our tougher games because I have the Lions. Call me crazy, but like I said, I have the Lions make it to the NFC Championship game. So it's like,
I don't know about that far, but yeah, I've got a lot of faith in them. Let's go on to the next game here. What I would like to do, if you guys are cool with this, is when we get to a game that is like your lock of the week, like you feel very confident that team is going to win. Like I don't need it for every game, but like the one that you say, like
all right, I'll have to look real quick.
this is the game that I am certain is 100% going this way. So we'll start with a division game here, Atlanta and Carolina. A battle of some teams when we did our
at Atlanta.
At Atlanta, yeah. We did our picks of where we thought over and under, and these were two teams that were fairly close together and where we picked them. Atlanta is the favorite in the game, just by 3 points. And if you're playing at home, typically you get about 6 points for being the home team.
Yeah.
So on a neutral field, they're saying that Carolina is a 3-point favorite, but at home, Atlanta's got the favorite. So what do you guys think about that game?
I'll let you start this one.
Yeah, I think once again, not to start it off first match, I think that's a pretty lock. Yeah.
You're going lock of the week on the first game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at Atlanta, Bryce Young, we've seen, a little bit of stumbling first game. I mean, it's pretty remarkable to see a rookie quarterback, especially drafted in the first round, first pick, so on and so forth, to be that guy, lead your team. A lot of expectations, a lot of, like I said, unknown factors. If the offensive line can protect for him, if he's going to stay healthy. I just feel like it's too much. And personally, if you're Carolina, you just want to get that guy in rhythm. You can't set too many expectations for your first game and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so I don't see it out of him. There's other guys, maybe you can see it, so on and so forth. I think in that division and what Atlanta's trying to do this year, I kind of like their team. So I kind of feel like Atlanta might be a little bit better than what some people are really talking about.
I'm there with you.
So I like I said, Carolina's the stereotypical 4 and maybe 5 and something this year, and you'll be happy with that because you're just developing Bryce Young at this point. So.
I agree with you. I've taken Atlanta, and I think like these are two teams that I don't think are making the playoffs. I don't think they're great. Atlanta, like you said, like it's not their roster's problem. It's how good is Desmond Ridder going to be? Can he? There's you might win 6-7 games, but can your quarterback take you beyond that? And I don't think Desmond Ridder can do that. But when I look at it, I think Atlanta has better O-line and D-line. That's what I think. I think they have better weapons at this point because Carolina had to trade DJ Moore. And I don't know. Like, I don't know what Bryce Young's going to be. He may be terrible. And that's the thing. We don't know that. Desmond Ridder, I'm like, I don't know. You're probably at least serviceable. He knows how to hand the ball off. He's not going to screw it up.
No, well, and then I just feel like from last year, and I hate to always do that comparison of like, well, this is what they did last year, so their projection, because that never always works out. But they were to win probably most of their games based on just their rushing attack. And if Ridder doesn't just create turnovers like a Baker or Winston, it's like you can go really far.
Yeah, and we get to see
especially in that division.
Exactly.
And we get to see what Bijan Robinson looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Bijan is going to be a certified stud. He's going to get every opportunity to be that. I'm with you guys this
He's
week.
that dog.
And this
He's
is
that dog.
real quick. This is the perfect Week 1 game because it's a team you're going against Carolina who has no expectations for this year. So if you're the Falcons, this is your let's prove something, guys. Let's go out there. There's no pressure on us. Let's go out and do it.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I think Atlanta wins this. I don't see, a lot of ways that Carolina wins this game unless Desmond Ridder just turns the ball over a lot. But I think with their rushing approach, they're going to be very heavy on the ground game. Whether it's, the obvious Bijan, they're going to try to get Tyler Algier involved. They're going to get Cordell Patterson involved. They'll be very conscious to run the ball.
Because now that they have Bijan Robinson, Algier can be the backup running back, and they can, split carries with those guys. And then Patterson can go back to kind of being what he originally was.
Yeah,
which
the
is
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, which we can put you out of the backfield, do, sweep routes with you or whatever.
Yeah, we don't got to give you the ball 15 to 20 times.
No,
out the
but we can
backfield.
just be creative with you. So, yeah, I think all that. And then real quick, I just want to add, what percentage do you guys give that, like, this Bryce Young comes out and he plays amazing Week 1?
And what's your
what's the definition of amazing?
Like, I would say, like, three or more touchdowns, no turnovers kind of thing where people
and over 200 yards or something?
Yeah, and then they get a
250
W.
yards?
Like, that's going to be a perfect debut. Like,
I'd give that a very low percentage.
Right.
Like less than 25%.
Yeah.
I can see them obviously them trying to get on the goal line and them trying to make more of a effort to get his first touchdown pass in the NFL and get that over. Got that monkey off my back, this and that, but.
I think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Let's go to a more competitive, at least two more competitive teams that we both think we all think are going to be a pretty good teams this year. Niners at Steelers. The Steelers are at home, and San Francisco is still the favorite in that game on the road. Just 2.5 points. Where do you guys land there? Brock Purdy coming back off of an injury. Kenny Pickett entering his second year. Where do you guys think that game goes?
I'm taking the Niners, and this one I don't think is going to be as close as people think, just for the fact of San Francisco to me is well-oiled machine. Like, I think they have more weapons. Look, as much as I love George Pickens, I still need to see the Steelers' offensive line and how well they can run block, because as good as Najee Harris possibly can be, he doesn't get that many opportunities because he literally, if you guys watch, his yards per carry is like 2. It's like he takes the ball, then it's like, nope, guys in the backfield because that offensive line can't block. And I know they got Broderick Jones, I think, from Georgia.
Yep.
But I'm not sure that they can do that. Kenny Pickett, if you're asking me, Kenny Pickett, Steelers weapons, Brock Purdy in that 49ers offense and scheme, I'll take the Niners. And defenses, I think it's literally like they're close, but I'll probably still take the Niners. So, yeah.
What's the lack of adjustment for the Steelers? That's been, just because you draft, top 10, top 20 halfback, and if you can't block for him, he's not going to be able to do a whole lot.
Right.
So I think that's the big question for the Steelers this year, obviously, because I just feel like that for the past 2 years. Ben Roethlisberger's retirement year, they made it to the playoffs, but it was just borderline. Najee Harris just can't get anywhere. I think he's that talented of a halfback. Any other team, like the Cowboys with a great offensive line,
Switch teams with him. Say if
Right.
he was on the Niners.
Right.
They'd be, they're already great with McCaffrey, but I'm saying he'd be able to look amazing
Exactly.
in that. Yeah.
I think personally, this is probably one of my upset picks. Actually, I'm going with the Steelers.
Oh.
Terrible towels, this and that at Pittsburgh. I feel like they have a great home record with Mike Tomlin and everything like that. I just feel like, I'm not saying crazy, like Super Bowl expectations for the Steelers, but I just like what I've seen with Kenny Pickett, the young wide receivers. They're throwing talent now around that offense. You're starting to see like a big three with them now. Like you said, Chris, I think it really just depends on that offensive line. And that's the only thing.
Does Broderick Jones make that big of an impact?
And then the defenses, I feel like, Nick Bosa still hasn't been signed yet for
Right,
the 49ers.
yeah, he's still out.
Who knows if he'll play week 1, so on and so forth. So it's just little things like that. I think the defenses are pretty similar. If you throw Nick Bosa in there, I think it makes a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, slight edge to Niners, but it's not like the Steelers are scrubs or
Was it
anything.
last year or year before? He was, Defensive Player of the Year. So
I think so.
last year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you on this one. I'm going to take the upset pick here. At home, I'm going to take the Steelers. My thought is twofold here. One, your best defensive player, if he's going to play, he's going to be incredibly limited. he's not going to come out there and play, the full volume of snaps. That's going to hurt their chances of getting after Kenny Pickett. 2, how healthy is Brock Purdy going to look?
That was what I was going to ask you guys. If you're taking the Steelers, I feel like that's where you're going. Is maybe his arm actually isn't as healed as it needs to.
Or it's a confidence thing too. You come back, your arm isn't. It's medically repaired. It's going to take a minute to get used to that, and then you're getting back into a big time game. Now, granted, Brock came in last year and didn't miss a beat, being a 7th round pick. Just stepped right in and won games and went down. Is one of the greatest, rookie quarterbacks to be drafted late outside of Tom Brady in the history of the NFL. There's an added level of pressure when you are coming back in and the expectations are higher. There were no expectations on Brock Purdy when he came in last year. The expectations are very, very high for him this year.
Now you're the guy.
Yeah.
You are the guy.
Right.
Yeah, like you said.
They had a whole offseason to decide who their quarterback was
and
going to be, and they landed on you.
And that is a different thing. I mean, the most recent example that I could think of is Nick Foles. Nick Foles was an amazing backup, but when it's like you are our starter, it was like night and day. He played differently. So maybe that's something. What I was going to say real quick is, I mean, I guess additional hot take is, let's say Brock Purdy got hurt in like the first quarter and Sam Darnold comes in, I'd still put my money on the Niners to win this game. That's how much I'm confident in them.
And yeah, like you said, I think they are a well-oiled machine. They are a great coach. They have just a great organization right now. But I just feel like, I know we always talk about, it's just preseason. But I think it has to say something a little bit in preseason when you just are just not competitive. You're not showing any sorts of,
There's no energy.
Yeah, it's just everything. And Kittle, everybody's just looking towards Brock Purdy and the expectations of like, this is our guy, lead us to it. And it's just like, I think that there is a little bit something there.
You think people need to slow their roll on the Brock Purdy?
Not necessarily that. It's just, like we just talked about Bryce Young, and I know one's a rookie, one has at least some games under his belt, but the expectations, you know what I mean? It's all like, we saw it with San Francisco last year. It took them week 8, week 9 to finally be like, oh shoot, this team's for real. You know what I mean?
think
after the trade with McCaffrey.
They made the McCaffrey trade. They lost to us.
We made them 4-3, and nobody, I don't think, right then in that moment was like, yep, Super Bowl bound.
Once Jimmy got hurt, I didn't know what Brock Purdy was going to be, so I was like, I'm not.
Oh yeah,
even with Jimmy and all that, I felt like playoffs, 49ers, but it wasn't
there was always still a ceiling with it.
I'm with you. I think I had them losing like the divisional round. Yeah,
I just didn't see a whole lot in that time when we finally beat them, and they were once again 4-3 or something. It was all like, well, this doesn't look like anything I should be afraid of.
Yeah.
Let's move to America's not game of the week. This should be the lock of the week, but I'll pass on the low hanging fruit and save my lock of the week for a moment later. We have the Cardinals traveling to Washington, taking on the Commanders. The Commanders are 6-point favorites. I feel like this one's pretty quick, unless you guys have some insight that I don't have.
I'll let you start.
This quarterback matchup. Oh, I can't wait! Out of all these games,
what's the guy that they got? Joshua Dobbs versus Sam Howell.
I tell you what, this is your modern day.
They started Dobbs.
Well, I think they're rolling with Dobbs.
They traded for him.
That Toon guy or whatever.
Oh, they might. But,
well, I haven't heard that officially, but it's between those two. But I think it's Dobbs because
Ken doesn't want to say because it'll be an advantage if he tells who his quarterback is before Sunday.
So stupid.
Besides the Colts, man, that organization has got it going on right now.
So who are you taking?
I hate to
Commandos?
I hate to be in my lock of the week.
Dude, you can't do your lock of the week Commandos. You can't say those words together.
Hold on. You've already done your lock of the week. How many are you going to have?
Oh, did he? Which one? Did you do the lock?
That was the very first one.
I'm locking in Commando. Going Commando with, obviously, the Commanders. This is I'll let you guys go.
Okay. If Kyler was healthy, I'd take the Cardinals in this one. Regardless of what his weapons were, whatever, I'd take the Cardinals because I don't think the Commanders are all that good. But this matchup, because I think he'd scramble around and figure stuff out.
Larry Fitzgerald came
what his weapons are? Those A cup, that he's been wearing inside of that sports ball.
that picture. For me, when I look at the matchup now, Joshua Dobbs, he had some promise last year with the Titans, looked okay. but they still didn't win with them. And my thing is, until I see something, I can't pick them. So I'll take the Commanders. I think they at least know they've had Sam Howell there the whole season. They had him last year. They have him this year, the whole training camp. Yeah, against the Cardinals, yeah, I'll take Sam Howell.
Ron Rivera didn't even know he was that good of a quarterback.
Yeah, he had him for a whole year. Didn't even know. This is your modern day Brady versus Manning matchup.
This is more exciting than Mahomes and Rodgers playing this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
They call that the State Farm Bowl. This is the dumpster bowl.
Well, you said that as a joke, but real quick, if Brady, because he's only been retired this last offseason, if Brady came out of retirement and let's say started for the Commanders, and Peyton came in and started for the Cardinals, and even though Peyton's like close to 50, don't you think there'd be better quarterback play than these two?
Probably.
Because Peyton, even if he can't,
I'll say this though. I think Sam Howell is better than what you guys give him credit. Watching him in the preseason, he's got a little bit of promise. He was somebody who was a highly touted quarterback in college.
Right.
He had a lot of promise in his junior year, and then his senior year wasn't as great.
and this is his opportunity. Like,
Yeah. And I also I'm picking the Commanders. We'll get that out of the way. But I also think that if I know it's crazy. I'm also if the Commanders aren't in this full on tank mode that you guys have the tinfoil hats on, thinking that they're going for Caleb Williams. I think Bieniemy is going to have that offense rolling. Even with an average quarterback, they've got some weapons on that offense.
They do, but I just think their schedule is way too tough.
It is. I mean, I don't know that they're going to be playoffs, but I think at the end of the year, I think the tune will be a little bit different around Sam Howell than what people think now. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying they're going to be oh my God, Sam Howell, he's the starting quarterback, for this team going forward. Don't draft a quarterback. But I think some people will be there's a conversation to be had that he might be,
I just can't wait till he throws a zillion picks, and then people are going to be oh, well, he's young. Give him some time. And I'm you guys ran Carson Wentz out of town for doing the same thing. But.
And you are right about this. The only thing I will say now, just the way Arizona's looking in Indianapolis right now, the only thing I can see out of Washington is obviously, because we've seen it before with Arizona going from drafting Josh Rosen and then literally the next year.
The next year.
I can see that now from Washington, waiting for Drake May to fall in the draft so that they can get him and draft him and be in, because he's got a lot of high and a lot of.
He'd be the number one quarterback in this draft if it wasn't for Caleb.
Exactly. Sam Howell has to show some legitimate promise, otherwise there is no loyalty there. They're gonna.
Oh no,
Washington hasn't had hope since RG3 got drafted.
I mean, the Alex Smith years were.
No, and that's the thing. Alex played that first year he was there. Alex had them at 7-3 or something like that, 6-3.
But that's what I'm saying. It's.
But long term hope.
That's what.
RG3 was the last time.
Yeah.
And Shanahan ran that into the ground.
Right.
Anyways,
maybe Kirk, a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You guys were just talking about the Indianapolis Colts, so let's go to Indy.
Another lock.
That's
my third lock in a row already.
Jacksonville going to Indianapolis. I'll jump in here. This is my lock of the week. Jacksonville is going to be a very good team. It surprises me that Jacksonville is only a 3.5 point favorite, even if they are
at
on the
Indy?
road. Yeah.
Okay.
Even if they are on the road, I think that's a double-digit win pretty easily for them. If they're not playing Jonathan Taylor, which they're not because he's on the PUP list.
Yeah.
That team is just going to be very one-dimensional, and to ask your quarterback, who is for what everybody has said, a developmental project, who's going to take some time to develop to the NFL standard, you're going to ask him to be one-dimensional in his very first season, his very first game, without probably their best player on that whole team as somebody that he can hand the ball off to. That reeks of turnover city in Indianapolis week 1, and Jacksonville's got a very good offense. They're going to turn those turnovers into points, and that game is going to get out of hand very quick.
I think the way the Jags are going to play their defense, they're just going to have basically guys falling into the middle of the field just waiting for those slants that they're yep, it's coming, because it's one of the easiest routes that quarterbacks throw to. So they're this is what because they're going to give him easy stuff. They're going to be let's try to work you in. So the Jags will be okay, cool, this is where we cover. If you can throw those deep bombs on the out, go for it, buddy.
You want to run Pittman on those fly routes, have at it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We think your arm's strong enough, but we don't think you're accurate enough to make it happen. So I'm taking the Jags as well. I do think that this is going to be their first or second easiest game on their schedule, just because kind of what you said. The Colts are such a cluster you know what of like we don't know what they really are.
I think fuck's the word you're looking
Yeah. Go ahead.
So
Can I say that?
It is at Indy, so they do have the advantage of Jim Irsay's whale being there.
The whale died.
Oh,
He owned a whale. He owned a whale. Or are you talking about his wife?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Whoa. All right, well, we just got canceled.
what are you talking about? Why?
Hey, Jamie, cut that.
So he tried to save a whale. I don't know. This guy's completely
Fantastic.
He's insane.
Essentially, I'll give a quick synopsis. So they're in this contract negotiation with their best player, and they could pay him some money. And Jim Irsay is basically like, "Oh, there's this whale that needs saved. I'm going to fly that whale over here and try to save it." And the whale died once he got it there.
Yeah, because,
he spent millions of dollars, like tens of millions of
Because
dollars.
that ocean they got out there in Indy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Well,
Have you seen
there's
the
a
beach?
Great Lake. There is a Great Lake that touches Indiana.
it's like offside fishing and be like, what the fuck was that? It's a fucking whale.
Yeah, have you seen that beachfront property outside of Indianapolis? Perfect place for a whale. I don't think we need to spend any more time on this game.
I think this is.
Jacksonville, the only thing I will say is I think, first two quarters, maybe you might see like, okay, maybe not a whole lot of turnovers from Richardson and everything like that, and he tries to play the, non-turnover. I think after a while, you keep sitting pressure and you keep putting.
He's going to make mistakes.
Exactly.
And
he's
I
going to
think-
try to want to make a play, be a playmaker, and that's when it all comes.
And I think this is the perfect start off for Jacksonville, where they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is one of, if not the easiest team on our schedule we're going to have all year. Let's dominate.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to do.
So, real quick before we dive into the next game, I did take a quick look at the draft order for the fantasy draft coming up here.
Don't tell me you have the first pick.
No, somehow you got the fucking first pick again.
Gosh,
He had it last
dang
year,
it.
didn't he?
And I had
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah, it's
I've
like
got it
3 years in a row.
Years in a row.
The system's rigged. Anyways, Cincinnati's traveling to Cleveland.
I hate having the first pick.
Do we know Joe Burrow's actually playing? They haven't said, right?
They haven't said, but I'm operating under the assumption.
I think we would have heard something. Like
Yeah, I think it would have come out if he wasn't going to play.
Yeah, because I heard he's actually been practicing.
Yeah.
So,
So let's operate under the assumption
Yeah.
that he's playing here. So we got Burrow against Watson in Cleveland. What do you guys think?
Jeff, you take this one.
Still Cincinnati. I think there's a lot of good things revolving around Cleveland, especially with
I don't know what I mean. The city of Cleveland itself is like the trash city of the world. But anyways, go on.
You got another year.
God
under,
hates Cleveland.
You got another year under Deshaun Watson. You got the connection with Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb is still, probably one of the top three halfbacks in the league. That team's always going to be competitive no matter what. It's just in the sense of whether Joe Burrow's hurt or not. I think it does intrigue me that it's at Cleveland, the doghouse, and it does intrigue me that let's see how big of an injury this really is from Burrow. Is this more of like, oh, this is just something to write about and give fans to pick and choose? I just feel like talent wise and everything, it's Cincinnati. If not, I think I told you guys earlier, them in Buffalo right now, this is their year to take advantage of getting past the Chiefs and getting to the Super Bowl. So
You would think. I'm going to take the Bengals as well, but my whole thing is this game is going to be interesting because Joe Burrow plays really well against the Ravens normally, plays really well against the Steelers.
Joe Burrow.
He struggles against the Browns. Last year, if you remember, they played the Browns. It was on a primetime game, and he sucked it up. He was terrible. And the Browns and we were like, what? Where's this coming from? It was literally just like a one-sided ass whooping that people were like, wow. Anyway, I think we need to watch out for that. I think it's a possibility. I think there's a chance the Browns could really this is a game I could see where the Browns go up and they're like up, so let's say like 18 points at the half. And then the Bengals have to come back and rally. I could definitely see that in this game.
Well, then don't get me wrong. We're not talking about Week 12, where we've already solidified on who's seeking for first seat. This is Week 1, clean slate.
Yeah.
Everything's new now. Take advantage of your opportunity right now if you're Cleveland. You know what I mean? Prove something that everybody's been putting these expectations on you. So,
If, and it's a giant if Deshaun Watson can get back to who he was in Houston,
Right.
this could be a dogfight. This could be a game. I'm on the side of one. You got to prove it to me that you can be that guy again because he did not look like that guy last year.
Not even close.
He did not look. There are very few people in the NFL that take a full year off, and he was off for was
Basically two and a half, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are very few people that even take a year off of the NFL, not because of injury, but because of some other reason.
Calvin Ridley took a year off.
Who?
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But there are very few people that take a year off because of something other than injury and come back and are successful in this league. The league just passes you by. And I think we saw it last year that Deshaun Watson had a really hard time acclimating back to the NFL speed.
I think he played in 6 games, and I think
Yeah.
he looked okay in 2 of them.
Yeah, and okay isn't going to cut it.
Not in this division.
Well,
Not in
and the
this
Browns
conference.
didn't pay that much money guaranteed for okay. So if, and it's a big if he does bounce back, then cool. Maybe we got a dogfight here, but I need to see it before I'm putting, my bet on it. So I'm taking Cincinnati in this game.
Michael Vick took a year off.
I don't think this game will be competitive, but prison is good for some people.
Well, and you said dog in this fight, and he brought up Michael Vick. So, yeah.
I think this will be a.
You get it?
No. I don't think this will be that close of a game. I think you guys maybe will find a little more closeness. Tennessee traveling to New Orleans. Derek Carr's first game gets a game at home here. I think that offense looks pretty good so far. I think Derek Carr might be all right. But what do you guys think?
Upset alert! I am taking the Titans. I'm taking the Titans. I'm sorry, but
What the hell was
Like the
that?
episode from Seinfeld. Beep, beep, back it up. He's like, back it up. Beep, beep. What the hell?
I'm sorry, but New Orleans is getting all this hype because Derek Carr looked good in a preseason game, and I'm like, okay, but it's Derek Carr. We've seen this too many times. I like the Titans. They addressed their issues of having a crappy, aging offensive line. They drafted Peter Skoronski. Derrick Henry, I think still has some juice. They got DeAndre Hopkins. Ryan Tannehill supposedly healthy. And honestly, if you're comparing Ryan Tannehill and Derek Carr, I don't really see much of a difference. Ryan Tannehill's a little taller. He's a better athlete, and he's a better runner. So, and I like Mike Vrabel over Dennis Allen. So yeah, I'll take the Titans.
He makes the Tennessee Titans.
I'll be honest, the logic there sounds okay.
Yeah, the Tennessee Titans are always that team, whether or not you want to count
Tough.
them out. Obviously, last year I think they faltered a little bit more than usual, but
Tannehill got hurt.
yeah,
That's part of
that's
it.
what I'm saying. They're always competitive. They're always tough. Yeah, I love the head coach. This and that, Mike Vrabel. I mean, it's
just smell the upset. There's a whiff in the air.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of almost kind of smoke and mirrors looking at this matchup because preseason and like you said, the weapons and everything out there for New Orleans and Derek Carr, it looks really nice.
Well, he's
It
had
looks
good
really
weapons
nice.
in Vegas, and he's still
Keep
screwing
in
up.
mind, Kamara's not playing week 1. He's on the suspended
Right?
list.
Yeah.
True. But even then, didn't they get?
They got Jamal Williams.
Yes,
They have
exactly.
Jamal
I
Williams.
feel
I
like
forgot who their other.
And I think Chris Olave is going to have.
Yeah.
a very
Olave,
good
Michael
game.
Thomas.
If Michael Thomas,
He's
see,
another one. I got to see it to believe it.
but I think if he stays healthy, I think that is just a huge.
And I know it was preseason, and I'm picking the Titans anyway. But Jimmy Graham, did you guys see his last game that he played in?
You talking about the time he was walking down the street?
No.
Oh,
After that,
okay.
after that, last week he played in a preseason game, and they
Got
showed the
arrested.
highlights. He looked amazing, and people were like, "Where's this Jimmy Graham been?" I know it's preseason, but
He's old.
I know, but he still can do the basketball thing where you just throw it up to him and he can just grab it. So
It's at New Orleans. I think New Orleans has something to prove, and especially Derek Carr, so on and so forth. So I got the Saints.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Saints. I don't think Derek Carr is going to go out there and be a world beater or world champion by any standards. But if he can be the best version of what Derek Carr was in Vegas or Oakland or wherever, I think that team's actually going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Are they going to? Is it going to amount to anything? No. They may. Well, I predicted them
For
to
week
win the
one.
division,
For week one, yeah.
so I'll stick with that at this point. But I think that Derek Carr is gonna have a little bit of a revamp, and he's gonna have something to go out there and prove. Hey, Vegas, fuck you! You got rid of me. I'm gonna show you what you're missing out on.
And I think they'll make it close by the end of the year as far as who's going to win that division. But for me, this game, I just think this is Derek Carr is going to come in going, like you said, I have a lot to prove. He's going to try to force things that aren't there. And I think he's going to go, I want to prove to these fans that I'm the right answer. And I think he's going to throw 2 or 3 picks.
I just no longer trust Ryan Tannehill. He's out of the circle of trust.
But I feel like you could say the same thing for Derek Carr.
Derek Carr has a little bit of a leeway in the circle of trust.
Okay, I don't.
He played for the worst organization in all of football for most.
He
of his
didn't play
career.
for the Commanders.
Well, some would say that the Raiders are unfortunate. Well, however you want to look at it, were ran worse than the Commanders were.
I don't know.
We'll move on here.
Okay.
I think this is another slam dunk, easy one. We got Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota is one of the biggest favorites of the week at 6.5.
So I think this is a closer game than people would think, but and you guys know that I like Tampa this year more than most people, but I'll still take Minnesota. I think Minnesota is just a more stable organization. Their quarterback position is more stable than Justin Jefferson. Interesting to see how the running back position looks. I mean, Madison has been one of the better backup running backs. Interesting to see how he looks in the lead role.
Yeah,
but,
he's going to have to beat the bell cow.
right. And then what's the new receiver they got? Jordan Addison,
Addison,
right?
yeah.
I'm interested to see how he looks.
I loved Addison coming
right.
out of the draft.
So, yeah, I will take the Vikings.
Now, I know you, Chris, have been a fan of Baker.
An apologist.
What do you think Baker looks like this year? Because this is really his last shot. Mm-hmm. This is it as a starter in the league. This is his last try.
I think Baker will beat up on the bad/mediocre teams because I do think they still have a solid roster around him. But I do think any time that it's like Baker, top team, see how you look, I don't think he's going to measure up. So I do still think they make the playoffs, and I'm the only one that says that. But I think every time that you're going to go Baker, prove that you can beat this top team, I don't think he'll be able to do it. I just think he's in the middle.
I think that Minnesota is an upper echelon team.
I think they're better. Yeah.
So you think this is a game that Baker kind of struggles in?
I think they make it entertaining. I think it's close. Like this could be a game that I could see coming down to one score, but I just think Minnesota.
He's got some weapons.
Yeah, I just think Minnesota is better offensively, and although the defense, you could say you give an edge to Tampa, I just think Kirk Cousins' operation of the Minnesota offense is going to be better than Baker's. So yeah, and I like the coaching staff better. I don't hate Todd Bowles, but we still have to see if he's actually a decent head coach because he really didn't prove it last year. But anyway, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I don't think Minnesota has to do a whole lot to win this game. And then also too, I mean, I have Minnesota. I'm not too high on either one of these teams. I just don't. The Buccaneers are not the team this year.
And you think Minnesota falls back down to
it's
earth?
still Baker. Baker's going to do Baker things. And then once again, yeah, I think Minnesota with that defense struggling. How many games was it? 8, 9, 10 games that came into like 1 to 2 points. You can't repeat that. You can't always. We just saw it. I hate to do that comparison, but we just saw it with TCU the other day. TCU had 7 games just like Minnesota did last year.
You're just saying games that come down the wire, you match to pull it out of your butt.
That division, so on and so forth. I don't mind Kirk. I don't mind. Kirk plays a lot better during these time of day games instead of prime time, so I think he takes advantage.
12 o'clock Kirk is better than, well.
And what time is this game?
12 o'clock.
Okay.
Exactly. So
right on
Justin
time.
Jefferson's still there. I know they got rid of Dalvin Cook, like you said. They have pretty decent offense. I just think, it's Minnesota. I'm just not high on Minnesota as a team overall, though, this year. So.
I'll also take Minnesota. I believe in Minnesota this year. I think that this is their last year to really have a good shot in that division because of the teams that are up and coming. I'm not ready to crown the Bears yet, like Jeff is, but I'm coming up on where the Bears are going to be. I love the Lions, the Packers, or whatever.
So do you have the Lions win the division this year? Or yeah. But this, like what you're talking about the Vikings, and I do want to get your opinion on this, but it is weird that like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, these young weapons, then you got like the quarterback thing, and you got some of the older players that were from the Zimmer age, where it's like, which like you said, you got young players that are ascending, but you have these old guys that you're like, well, you're really not that good anymore, so they got to figure that out.
Yeah, but what I'm more getting at is the competition that they're going to be going up against because they're going to, at best, they're going to stay stagnant of where they're at, and these other teams are going to get ahead of them. Yeah. Let's do some rapid fire here so we can pick up some time.
Okay.
So I'll go through some of maybe the lesser games that'll take us a little less time to talk about. Houston travels to Baltimore. That is the biggest favorite of the week.
That's what I was going to say. That's my lock of the week, and I know it's easy. But, yeah, I just think Ravens, Jim Harbaugh, week 1, they already know what they're doing. Houston has to figure everything out on the fly. Ravens. Same?
Yep.
Yeah, easy. I mean, slam dunk.
That's my fourth lock of the week. So.
All right.
If Houston makes it interesting, that's better for us as viewers. But yeah,
sure. I just don't see it. Yeah. Let's go with another lesser competition game here. Philly on the road at New England. 4.5 dogs are the Patriots.
I don't think, and I think New England's going to be competitive all year, but I just don't see them winning that many games. But yeah, I think Philly's too much for them.
Yep.
All
Same
around.
thing. Same thing.
Yeah, I think Philly's on a revenge tour. The way that they talk, they're really wrapped up in that Super Bowl loss. That may come back to bite them later in the season if they're still thinking about that. But they're steadfast on we need to win some games.
Philly also
Prove a
hates
point.
Boston, and Nick Sirianni always has a chip on his shoulder, so he just wants to shut Bill Belichick up.
I know everybody gets good every single year, so on and so forth. With the draft, free agents. I think just Philly's the only team that definitively, to me, looked like they actually got better from going from the Super Bowl last year to now
They
this year.
added some
So,
dogs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Quite literally, dogs.
Like,
Georgia.
Interesting, but
oh, I
interesting.
actual dogs. Like,
Interesting to
oh,
see
okay.
how Jalen Carter
Air Bud?
looks. Jalen Carter
take him.
versus the New England front up front.
It'll be interesting
Yeah.
to watch those matchups. Let's go to Denver. The Vegas Raiders are traveling into Denver. Chris, these are two of your top teams this year.
So these are both teams that I'm high on, but if
Remember,
I have
kids, don't do drugs.
But if I have to pick one, the coaching advantage goes to Denver with Sean Payton, and I think that Denver also has a better defense, so I'm going to go with Denver on this one. Now, obviously, Russell Wilson could screw this all up and look terrible like he did last year, but I do think that they're going to look better, so I'll take Denver. And where's this at?
It is in Denver.
Mile high,
Okay.
baby.
Denver is 4-point favorites.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Now, granted, like I said earlier, Vegas gives about a 6-point swing to the home team on average in an NFL game. It's worth 6 points.
I'm curious if that changes more towards game time.
A little bit.
Come next week, if that changes at all.
It might. So they're basically saying on a neutral field, Vegas is actually 2-point favorites on a neutral field.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, yeah. I got Vegas. I don't. It's spicy. Russell Wilson is just.
Why is it spicy?
Russell Wilson is just cringe. He's. I don't think.
So you got more faith in Jimmy G than you do in
yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Oh yeah. I got more faith actually in.
McDaniels?
McDaniels
Then Sean Payton?
getting a quarterback that he wants into
connects
his
with?
Yes, then Sean Payton.
And you feel
just
like
coming in there like, yeah, I'll fix Russell Wilson.
But do you feel like a Sean
Somebody
Payton?
had a choice of their quarterback and the other did.
Well, people say Sean Payton had a choice because he chose Denver, but my thing is, don't you think he chose the Walmart people and the money? Don't you think that was
yeah,
mainly what-
exactly. I just feel like this is more of like a publicity. Yeah,
Because his marriage to Russell Wilson, I don't know how early they can get out of his contract.
years. It's still years down the
Well,
road.
they might have to still pay him, but they can always find somebody in the draft and just start him over Russell Wilson
yeah,
if they
very
think he's
true.
done.
But
That logic doesn't really.
I know it'll be tough, yeah.
It's not the best choice.
But
we've seen
you guys think it was more the money than it was he really liked Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like I told you, my report that I heard was that he got to watch Russell Wilson practice before he signed his head coach contract, talk with him a little bit. No, he basically was like, I want to see.
he saw Russell go out there and shake the
No, but
invisible fans.
he was like,
hands.
I want to see him throw the football around a little bit and like go through some things, and then I'll sign my contract.
So let me ask you this. I'll play
Yeah.
the flip side of this.
Yeah.
If you just took a really big job and they're paying you a lot of money, aren't you going to say all the right things? Like, I chose Russell Wilson. I chose to be here because of Russell Wilson. You're not going to go in and be like, hey, I might be able to fix him.
Look,
If not, we'll figure
I'm
it
not.
out next
I'm
year.
not Sean Payton, so I don't know what his number is. But for me, because I'm in my position, there is no number. Like what they can offer, I'm not going to say no to that job. I don't care how bad the quarterback looks. I'll take it. So it might be different for me, but yeah, Sean, you're probably right that basically there was no level of bad that he could have saw that he was like, I'm not going to take this job.
This would be
No, not for that dollar.
Granted, they're still in the NFC, and I know Sean Payton's had to come across Russell Wilson in his career and lifetime, competing against him with the Saints. and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But once again, this is much more different than like if he was actually seeing Russell Wilson on a daily basis 2 times a year in the same division. This just, I mean, he's picking fights with Nathaniel Hackett already. That's moved on to the Jets and talking. I'm like, this is a dumpster fire here in Denver. Once again,
I do not
It's to
trust-
stay. It's to stay relevant and to sell tickets for Denver right now this year. So.
I have zero faith in what I might actually have negative faith in the Broncos.
So who are you taking?
I'm taking an upset, as Chris said. Wee-oo,
Okay.
wee-oo. Upset alert.
Wait, back it up.
I think Vegas will be okay this year, especially when you're looking at comparisons to Denver. I think Denver is going to be the bottom of the barrel in this division. Somebody has to be, and I think it's going to be them, and Vegas wins this game.
Okay.
Let's go to probably, I think, the best game of the week. Miami traveling.
And we're doing
to
all the
Los
games,
Angeles.
right? We're doing
Yeah.
all. Okay, just make sure.
Yeah,
This isn't as rapid fire as we thought we
we
would.
tried it.
We have like,
Baltimore, Houston was
we got like
rapid fire.
15 minutes, all right?
Yeah.
So.
Miami against the Chargers.
Okay, I think this is actually going to be a close game, very entertaining, high scoring. I'll take the Chargers.
And for the record, the Chargers are 3-point favorites at home.
Oh, it's regardless. I wouldn't really care because they're both basically the
There's
same
not
environment.
much of a home field advantage for the Chargers.
But yeah.
On average, for the past, I want to say like 4 to 5 seasons, the Chargers always start off super, super hot. I think their overall record within 4 to 5 seasons, starting off the season, is like something stupid, like 20 and like, I don't know, 3, 20 and 4.
My neighbors are hammering something.
So, anyways,
Is
yeah.
that Morse code?
The
Always.
Chargers get off and they start hot once again.
I'm also on that same boat. I think like Jeff said, the Chargers always come out of the gate quick.
Yeah.
They always look really good. Where their problem is later in the season.
Yeah.
I like Herbert. I think Herbert's going to have a really good year. I'm just still not completely sold on Tua. I think that they'll be a fine team. I just don't trust Tua to win those big time games. So I'll take the Chargers.
And I just want to point out, like, I'm not asking you guys a question, but I just want you to make a mental note. So the Dolphins, like I said, they have a really tough schedule this year. So every time that we look at the schedule and it's going to be another tough matchup, I just want you guys to think, because everyone pencils them in as like, well, they're going to make the playoffs again because they made it last
I
year.
don't think they make the playoffs.
Right. And I'm like, it's just too tough. And they have too many games like this where it's like, it's close, but I'll take the other team. It's too much.
This is Jeff's favorite game of the week.
Yeah.
Green Bay traveling to Chicago. Chicago is 2.5-point
They
favorites.
should be like a 20 and a half favorite.
Duh, Bears. Yeah, taking the Bears.
Fifth lock of the week. The Bears over the Packers. I think this is finally the time. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is gone. The Bears take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Aaron Rodgers said, he owned the Bears. That ownership is gone.
You
now.
might see a little Justin
It's
Fields
in,
doing the.
it's in Chicago. It's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago.
He might do some IONUs. He might do it to like once he scores some
DJ
touchdowns.
Moore's a little new, so maybe he doesn't know the whole Cardinal rule. Maybe you see DJ Moore to give the.
I'll say
title
this:
and the
there's
belt.
no love in this game. I'm taking the Bears. The Bears. There's a vengeance there, and they're going to show them.
They're
what's
hungry
up
to
in
prove
Green
something,
Bay.
and they're like perfect opportunity. You don't
Yeah.
have Aaron Rodgers anymore. Perfect.
And just a quick one on this one, and then we can move on. Hot take here: the Bears win this game by a lot, and the media is going to, because overreaction
Oh, yeah.
Monday. They are going to eat the shit out of this.
That's probably true. That they'll be like, can the Bears make some noise in the playoffs? It's like not really, but
I don't even care if they win a lot. If they win by like 3 points, last minute field goal, they're going to be like,
Oh,
okay, the Bears,
yeah.
undefeated season.
Oh, I just imagine it being like 27-14, and they're going to be like, oh my god, the Bears are real.
I just think Justin Fields is going to be unleashed. I think that Packers defense is going to be a whole another animal to try to contain this dude.
Let's see, we got just 2 games left on the slate.
You got 3 games left. Seattle and the Rams.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay, 3 games left. So let's go Rams at Seattle. Seattle is -5.
So for my
favorites.
6th lock of the week, I got Seattle. I don't have a whole lot. Of
I
faith
feel
in
like
the
we're going
Rams.
to hear the Sounders down there.
Upset. Here's my thing. Look, Seattle's solid team, but people are forgetting how good Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay make as a tandem. Cooper Kupp, I know they said he had a little bit of a setback with his
I
hammy.
think he's playing week 1.
I still think that they have enough without him. I really do. I honestly,
I think the silence speaks for
Bold
itself.
statement there, God.
okay. I'll take the Rams and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm
You
going to
said-
take the Seahawks.
you said Seahawks,
Yeah,
okay.
Seahawks. 2 games left. Another division battle here on Sunday
I think
night.
this is a good Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, first week. Yeah.
Dallas travels to New York. Dallas on the road is 3.5-point favorites.
And to what you just said, this is a typical Sunday night matchup that they always do. And normally it sucks because the
yeah.
Giants have been terrible for a while.
Yeah.
But no, this year it's actually pretty good. I'll take the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are just a little bit better, but I think the Giants are, they're building more of a core of solid players. But yeah, I'll take the Cowboys.
Hey, how about them Cowboys? I got the Cowboys.
Wee-oo. Upset alert.
I
Da-
mean, yeah.
I think, at home, starting on Sunday night, that place is going to be fired up, boys. That New York is going to be. There's a lot of hype in New York for this team this year. You know, you bring back Daniel Jones on a big contract. You get Saquon back. There's a lot of expectations.
Darren Waller's there now.
Yeah, you get Darren Waller.
He'll be good for 3 games and then
Yeah, you know, before he gets hurt. No, I think that this team will be better than what a lot of people think. I think that Daniel Jones gets it done. It's going to be a close one, but I'm going to take the Giants.
Not a crazy take. I don't think they're like so astronomically apart that it's like unforeseeable. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I know I said earlier that the Dolphins and Chargers might be the game of the week, but I forgot about this one.
I think this one's the game of the week.
Monday night. Ba-na-na-ba, the Bills travel to the Jets, and the Buffalo Bills are 1-point favorites on Monday Night Football.
Start us off.
I don't think that the Jets win this game for a few reasons. Expectations are incredibly high for the Jets this year. Their first game of the year comes against probably their toughest game that they're going to face all year outside of Kansas City. It may be tougher because, one, it's the first game of the year on the road and the expectations that they're going to have on them. I'm taking the Bills to win this. I think that Josh Allen and that Buffalo Bills team has a lot to prove this year. This is their last year, guys, to really solidify their chance at a Super Bowl run. They're going to have to start paying dudes. They're about to get into that era that the Chiefs are in right now where you got to make tough decisions on who you keep and who you don't. And they're in for some hurting on that salary cap coming up soon, especially with that Von Miller contract. That Von Miller contract is going to haunt them for the next 2 or 3 years. So with that said, I'm taking Buffalo. Buffalo wins this game.
Okay. I'll take the Jets, and I actually don't think this one – I think it's going to be super entertaining.
Real quiet.
Yeah. I don't think this one's actually all that difficult for the fact that when I look at the defense, Jets have a better defense, and you can't convince me otherwise. And then when I look at the offense, I honestly think that the Jets' growing weapons and getting Dalvin Cook and guys just wanting to be a part of that new energy. I look at the Bills and I'm like, what'd you add? You had Dalton Kincaid. That's nice. I give you that. But I think the Bills in their mindset go, we're kind of stagnant where we're only making it so far. We're not actually improving. And I actually disagree with you. You said this might be too much too soon for the Jets, like too big of a test. I think it's actually exactly what they need because this is immediately, are you that good or are you not? But the thing is, they split with them last year. They beat them.
Yeah.
So, and that was with Zach Wilson at the helm, or maybe it was Mike White. I don't remember. But regardless, now you have a guy in Aaron Rodgers that's not really going to turn the ball over, so you're not worried about that. I feel like they feel confident that if they can get more than 21 points out of their offense, they win the game.
Yeah, I have the Bills. I think it's literally everything Caleb said. Too many expectations. I just feel like it's a lot harder, and we've seen this before. Dream teams, you know what I'm saying? Just throwing guys in there, buying up free agents.
Look, Vince Young's not on this roster.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? But just the fact that I like Aaron Rodgers. I like him as a person, as a quarterback, so on and so forth. And I do have I think after a while, high expectations for the Jets in the long run of the season. I think they'll mesh and get together a little bit more, and we'll see them, down the road be a lot better than what they are. But I think week 1 coming out, like Caleb said, this is Buffalo's year, and they've got to do something. And I think we've seen that with a lot of times where Buffalo plays the first game and everybody kind of underwrites them. I think it was last year before, the Rams and Buffalo. Buffalo came out and smashed them.
No, you're right. That was last year's season opener, and you're right. And I got that one wrong. I admit that. But yeah,
both did. I got that one right. So I mean, we're not keeping score or anything. But
let's wrap today's podcast up with one question. We kind of talked about what team can get the most hype from a week 1 win when we talked about the Bears. Who could you see losing this week out of the teams that we talked about? Who could be that team that loses and the media is crying that the sky is falling for that team?
The Jets. I think just because they have that target on their backs right now. And so, if they come out losing week 1, I think because of the expectations, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, you got Dalvin Cook now. You got this great defense, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. That's all they needed was Aaron Rodgers, this and that. Can the offensive line block, so on and so forth. I think it's just too much. It's too much for a team to just to do this.
And on the flip side of that coin, I think it's the Bills. I think if the Bills lose week 1, people are going to be like, are they the kings of that division anymore? And like, and so I think this game, that Monday night game, is the perfect, like, you have these two possible Titans. Obviously the Jets need to prove it, but yeah.
I'll be different. I think that either one of those answers is probably the best answer. But if New York comes out and beats Dallas on Sunday
that's a good
night,
one.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to say,
Ooh, I like
is Dallas?
Skip Bayless.
Trey Lance?
You're right. If Dak stinks it up, people will literally start doing should they start? Because who's their Cooper Rush? They'll be like,
Well, it won't be, but Stephen A. will make it. So.
yeah. Well, he'll just laugh. He'll laugh for the first 30 seconds. That second. Yeah. How do?
The only thing I will say is that it's very ironic that we started off talking about Prime and the Colorado beating TCU with all the transfers, blah, blah, and then we ended it with the Jets and all their accusations. You know what I'm saying? Like
Acquisitions,
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It worked for them.
Full circle. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference between college and
No, I get that, but with the Jets, I do feel that energy of everyone's just excited where they're like, we actually have a chance.
Yeah, when I trip balls, like I feel that energy too. You know what I mean? So,
Well, on that note, let's get ready for our fantasy draft. We'll be back with some fantasy news probably here shortly. So
All right.
thanks
Peace
for
out,
joining
guys.
us.
happy out.
Oh, no, just stop recording.
Oh.
Oh.